And feel free as we get started to get active in the chat. Just make sure that when you are chatting, you can send it directly to the panelists and host to view, or you can share it with everyone to see your comments. All right, without further ado, let's get started. My name is Rebecca Davis. I'm the Career Services Manager for the University of Arizona Global Campus. We are excited you could join us today to learn more about exciting career opportunities with Head Start. Before I turn the floor over to Head Start, I wanted to go over just a few housekeeping items. First, this webinar is being recorded. For those who registered for today's information session, the recording will be emailed to you in a few days. We will take some time to answer as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation. At the bottom of the screen is a Q&A button. You can submit questions with your name or anonymously to be answered live. We will do our best to get through as many questions as we can. However, if your question is not answered by the end of the presentation, you can email it to careerservices@uagc.edu, and we will follow up with Head Start to answer any of those remaining questions. Again, also feel free to engage in the chat. You can pose questions in the chat, and Head Start and members of the Career Services team will be available to help answer your questions throughout the presentation. If you are having any technical difficulties, we recommend logging out of Zoom and logging back in. Now, I would like to introduce our guest employer. Joining us today is Juanita Yancey, Executive Officer for Georgia Head Start Association, and Myra Ingram, Executive Director of Head Start Region 4, which includes Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. Juanita and Myra, we are so excited to have you today and hear your presentation. Thank you for joining us. Before we turn it over to Myra, we're going to share a little video, so give us just one moment to do that.
For more than 35 years, the Region 4 Head Start Association has been dedicated to improving the quality of early care and learning services for Head Start, early Head Start children, and their families. Where others saw challenges, we saw opportunities. Incorporated in 1986, Region 4 Head Start Association is a nonprofit membership organization missioned to support the Head Start community through leadership, advocacy, partnership, and professional development, promoting the delivery of high-quality services for children and families in the Southeast. Region 4 Head Start Association is a proud regional affiliate of the National Head Start Association. Our regional network includes a growing alliance of individual and grantee members, corporate sponsors, and collaborative partners, as well as our 8 state affiliates: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Nationally, Head Start has served over 30 million children across the country since 1965, and Region 4 grantees have been the gateway of opportunity for more than 5 million of these children. Region 4 is the largest region in the country, with the highest level of federal funding and providing services to approximately 20% of the children and families enrolled nationwide. Region 4 Head Start Association is the voice for more than 165,000 children, 40,000 staff, and 300 Head Start and Early Head Start grantees in the southeastern United States. Over the years, Region 4 has grown significantly while remaining focused on our mission to open doors of opportunity for enrolled children and families, leveraging our collective voice, engaging partners across sectors, and supporting professional development. From the front lines of the civil rights movement to the front lines of national advocacy work on Capitol Hill, the Region 4 Head Start Association celebrates its rich legacy while embracing a future ripe with opportunity, innovation, and partnership. Where others see challenges, we will always see opportunities.
Good afternoon, everyone. I see through the chat that folks are checking in with us from all around the country, but in particular, I'm always looking to see who's present in Region 4 on this call. And so I see we have some folks joining us from Atlanta, Raleigh, and Florida. So I'm Myra Ingram, and I represent the Region 4 Head Start Association. And those states or those cities that we named are within our region. As stated in the video, we are the largest region in the country. We serve more than 20% of the children served every year in this country through Head Start and Early Head Start. And our states include Alabama. If you represent Alabama, let me see you light up the chat box. Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. We are so excited to be a part of this amazing opportunity to share a little bit about the doors that can open for you as you pursue your early childhood education career through Head Start and Early Head Start. I want to begin by saying that your commitment to follow this heart work, H-E-A-R-T, is none to be taken lightly and to be greatly admired. We know that educating the youngest minds ensures the brightest future for our communities and our country. We were founded as part of the war on poverty in 1964 when President Lyndon B. Johnson worked with Sergeant Shriver to launch Head Start as a summer-only project. Here we are more than 50 years later and more than 30 million children served, and we're still going strong. One of the things many people don't know about us, even those in the industry, is that it all started with Head Start. We are the mother of Sesame Street. Sesame Street was created so that every child in America could have a Head Start experience, the same that we offered in the classroom, or similar to what we offer in the classroom. Also, state pre-K modeled after Head Start. Although their state requirements aren't nearly as stringent as Head Start, our requirements help to shape the models that have proven to be great partners as we share the responsibility for educating our youngest minds. I'm not sure where your interest lies in terms of this field, but that goes with the great diversity that we offer in Head Start. With the incorporation of Early Head Start more than 30 years ago, we expanded our reach to pregnant women up to age 3, children up to age 3. 3 children then transition to the Head Start program, and they can remain in Head Start until they're ready to transition into kindergarten. As we, as a nation, as a global community, start to navigate this space of the workforce mid-pandemic, we understand that folks are reassessing what is meaningful. Work now has to be more than a way to be financially stable. It's not about the paycheck for a lot of people. And for many folks in early childhood education, that is the case. That's why we say hard work. But it's about fulfilling a mission, listening to your inner voice that says, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is the work that I'm supposed to be doing. We are a high energy, intense group of people who are committed not only to the work that we do, but the communities that we serve. In fact, we were credited by the CDC for being one of the top reasons that the pandemic did not spread as it could have in low-income areas. That's because Head Start's mission extends beyond the classroom. We are in the communities, we are in families' homes, we are providing education, delivering services, and connecting them to resources. We focus on the whole child, the whole family, because we realize that for the child to be successful, we must ensure that families have the resources and the support that they need to be sustainable and self-sufficient. You know, when we were offered this opportunity to talk about why you should consider Head Start among all of the choices that you have, the best example I could come up with was my own personal journey. Before coming to Head Start, I worked in adult education in the community college system in Virginia. I am a native Virginian. Like everyone in Atlanta, I'm a transplant. And when I moved to Tennessee, I needed to find a job, and I looked at human services. I connected with the local community action program in that community, and they had a job opening for a social services manager or family services manager, I think is what it was called at that time. And so my mindset was, this will be a temporary stop on my road to getting back into the adult education system. Almost 30 years later, I have matriculated through the Head Start community, first starting as a family services manager, then becoming a Head Start director, and then joining the association. And along the way, what I realized is that my passion was to serve as many children and families as I could, and to make sure that they were surrounded by the types of resources and supports that will allow them to experience educational success as well as family outcomes successes. And so what I found during my journey with Head Start over almost 3 decades, as I've talked to others in this community, the journey is very similar, very similar. Many of them never expected to be in Head Start as long as they were. It was, in many cases, a pit stop. But there's something that happens to you when you join this community. You become connected to this mission in a way that's indescribable, and it's hard to leave behind. Head Start is one of those unique communities where once people finish their career and retire, they come back to serve in powerful ways as volunteers at the local, state, and regional level, as board members, working in classrooms, helping management teams to strategize about future turns that they're going to take in the road ahead. So when I say it's a lifetime commitment, it really is, because once you're connected to this network, it gets in your blood and it's hard to walk away. I've known very few who can completely walk away. So I would say to those of you who are considering, where do we land? What is a good home for me in terms of my professional career? I urge you to give Head Start a chance. You know, we are located throughout communities across this country, and the easiest way to find us is by going to several of our websites to then find agencies that are closest to you. I want to share one of the websites, and my internet is not cooperating. So, and I'll put this in the chat box once Ms. Yancey starts speaking, but if you want to jot it down, you can go to the Office of Head Start's website. Their website address is ECLKC. So that's eclkc.ohs.acf.hhs.gov. Again, that's eclkc.ohs.acf.gov. www.acf.hhs.gov. Once on that site, you can navigate to locate a center near you. And this is the same tool that parents use to find a local center that is enrolling children. You can also use the same search device to find a local program so that you can inquire about what vacancies may exist. Ms. Yancey will talk to you more about the different career paths that are available, especially those in her state. But before I turn the microphone over to her, oh, thank you, Desiree. Love that. But before I turn the microphone over to her, I just want to say Head Start was the best temporary decision that I've ever made. Yeah, so some 30 years later, I could say it was the best temporary decision that I ever made. And I hope that as you're navigating your choices, whether it be to open your own private facility, this would be a great place to cut your teeth. If you're looking at possibly serving in the school district, they are great partners of ours. But I will also say that we engage families in a way that school districts don't, because we serve the whole family. So if you're looking to have an extended reach into the whole school to home connection, this is the place for you. If you want a place that will support your professional growth, from direct classroom service to management positions, this is the place for you. Head Start has groomed some of the world's finest leaders who have achieved things within and outside Head Start. And we believe in allowing folks to spread their wings. So once again, as you contemplate your next move post-graduation, we hope that you will seriously consider a move to Head Start or Early Head Start. And we would certainly welcome you in Region 4. If you love sunshine and sweet tea, this is the place for you. And so with that said, I'll pass it on the mic to Juanita Yancey, the Executive Officer with the Georgia Head Start Association and one of my strong affiliates in Region 4.
Thank you, Myra. Hello, everybody. Again, I'm Juanita Yancey. I'm the Executive Officer with the Georgia Head Start Association. You can advance. And I just wanted to, you can go to the next slide. And I just wanted to just go with my little brief agenda with you, an introduction. Then we'll talk about the Georgia Head Start Association. What is Head Start? Head Start Governance, Head Start Performance Standards and Act, Early Care and Knowledge Center, which Myra talked about some, and Head Start Careers. So I just want to give you a brief introduction of me. I majored in business education when I was in college because I wanted to teach high school students business subjects. Then I decided, well, no, I think I want to be a businesswoman. I wanted to be more of a business career person. So in order to do that, I started working in the corporate America world, in banking and accounting, and then I entered into management and supervision functions. And in 2001, I had a life change that had me relocate from the Atlanta area back home to North Carolina. And while I was there, I got into the nonprofit world, working with the Cooperative Extension Service as their Children, Youth, and Families at Risk Project Director. And from there, I went on to work with the North Carolina Smart Start organization, which is an organization that is responsible for implementing North Carolina's Early Childhood Initiative. So I was the program manager for a county, a 3-county region partnership, where I got into the early childhood education field as a program administrator for early childhood education programs for families with children 0 to 5. and as well as family support programs and health programs. And from that, that brought me into the Head Start world. I learned of the executive officer position with the Georgia Head Start Association, which was along my career path because I wanted to work in business. I wanted to perhaps run a business company. I had also formed my own business some time ago, but that didn't work because I still needed income and I just didn't have the time to do both. So I thought it would be better to just stay in business and work for an organization like the Georgia Head Start Association. So that's what attracted me to this position. But of course, there was Head Start. Head Start is something I've had a 58-year relationship with. I was a child in the Head Start program in the early 60s when the program was new to the country. My mother was one of the first Head Start teachers in the country, and she was one of those first teachers to obtain her CDA credential, which moved her from an assistant teacher position to a head teaching position. And she stayed in that position for 30-something years. I've had siblings and nieces and nephews that went through the program, friends that I met years ago, and we are still friends to this day because of Head Start. So those relationships that Myra talked about, I can attest to those. But my mother, one of the things she recognized when she was a Head Start teacher is that she treated every child in Head Start as if they were her own. I remember going to the grocery store and seeing her in there, and children would run up to her, and these children were like in their 30s, and they knew her, and they were glad to see her, and they hugged her, and they kissed on her. And it was just fascinating to see that the impact that Head Start had on these children's lives, and the impact my mother had on them. One of the things I remember her telling me about was a child. His name was David. And she remembered looking at that child for the first time and saying to herself, this child is going to do something great. She said, I don't know what it is, but just looking at him in his eyes, I can see it. So her role then was to be a nurturer for all of our Head Start children, to make sure that these children got a fair chance in life. And if she hadn't done that, I don't know where David would be. So I want you all to take your cell phones for a minute and just Google the word David Henderson. Just Google the word David Henderson. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And several David Hendersons, of course, will come up. But I want you to scroll down to the one that says David Henderson basketball. So David was a child that my mother said she knew was going to do something great. And David was, when he left Head Start, of course, all through school, he was a straight A student. And I knew David because he was one of my classmates. He was a little younger than me, but I knew who he was. And he started growing. He was just very tall. So of course he was on our basketball team and he was a star athlete. And because of that, David got a full paid scholarship to Duke University, where he played there in the ACC. So we got to see him playing on TV when Duke played. And from that, David was able to, he was drafted by the NBA Washington Bullets. And then he later on played for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he played all across the country, all across the world, really, France and different places, Israel and places like that. So David was a straight A student. He could have done anything he wanted to do. So you may say, oh, he chose basketball. Wait, how many people you know can just go into the NBA? Not many. So she knew David would do something great. And he also ended up being an assistant coach, a head coach. Now he's a scout for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So David did do some of those things that she knew he would do. So what if she hadn't been that nurturing teacher? What would have happened to David? I don't know, but we do know that he was a success story in Head Start. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to share that with you. So what is Head Start? You can advance to the next slide. So I'm sorry, I'm talking a little bit about the Georgia Head Start Association. We was formed in 1976. We're located in Clarkston, Georgia. So shout out to all my Atlanta folks that's on the call. So we are located in the metro Atlanta area. We are a 501c3 charitable organization registered in the state of Georgia. We are governed by board of directors. We have 84 of them that sit on our board. And we have 32 affiliate Georgia Head Start program grantees. Next slide. And our mission is to provide education, leadership, and advocacy that support Head Start programs' efforts in delivering high-quality, comprehensive services to Georgia's children, families, and communities. So this is my Georgia Head Start Association team. You met Myra, and she is a part of our team in the Region 4 office. But Donis Pace is our president. I'm your executive officer or the executive officer. Allison Sutherland is our Georgia Head Start Collaboration Director. And this last picture is a photo of the Georgia Head Start Association Board of Directors. So in Georgia, we have 18,715 funded enrolled Head Start slots. So these represent children that are in the program. And we have 4,876 of these children in our early Head Start program. So our Head Start program are the preschool age programs, generally between 3 and 4. And the early Head Start children can be anywhere from birth to age 3. And there are migrant and seasonal children. We have 375 children enrolled in that program. And this program is for children whose families migrate to Georgia to work in our crops. We have many crops here in Georgia, and these families come in from state to state. So they may work in the apple crops in Michigan and come down to Georgia and work in our peach crops. And then some of these families are seasonal, so they stay in Georgia and they continue to work the seasonal crops here. And we have approximately 6,813 staff people that work in Georgia Head Start programs across the state. And if you want to know more about the Georgia Head Start Association, just visit our website, www.georgiaheadstart.org. So now I want to talk a little bit about Head Start. So Myra talked about Head Start, but I want to just talk a little bit more. So what is Head Start? Head Start began in 1965 as a summer demonstration project. It is a high-quality, comprehensive school readiness program. It serves children and families from low-income families, age eligible 3 to 4 years old, and categorically eligible families also include families with children in foster care, homeless families, families that have children with special needs, and families that receive SNAP or food stamp assistance. The early Head Start program began in 1995. It serves infants and toddlers under the age 3. It serves pregnant women, and it's designed to nurture healthy attachment between parent and child and caregiver. So the Head Start program, this is how all Head Start programs are required to operate. There is a Head Start governance component to the program. It establishes and maintains program structure. The governing body has legal and fiscal responsibilities to administer and oversee the agency's Head Start programs. The Policy Council is responsible for the direction of the agency's Head Start programs. And then we have parent committees. And each Head Start center has a parent committee. And these parent committees, of course, made up of parents that have children in the program. And these parent committees send representatives to serve on the Policy Council. And the Policy Council and the governing body together is responsible for the governance of Head Start programs. The Head Start Act was signed December 12, 2007 by President George Bush. It reauthorized the Head Start programs, and the Head Start Act is the law that contains significant revisions to the previous Head Start Act. Head Start performance standards were released in 2016 by the Office of Head Start, and these were the first comprehensive set of revisions to the standards since 1975. Head Start agencies must meet performance standards and requirements in the Head Start Act, and the standards are a 5-part set of Head Start requirements and regulations. These are the Head Start service areas: education and disabilities, health and nutrition, family, parent, family, and community engagement, and mental health. And these are all designed services for children 0 to 5 and their families. And these are also, all of these service areas have career opportunities in them, because these are positions that all Head Start programs must have in order to meet these service area requirements. And go back to the other slide for a second, Rebecca, I'm sorry. if you don't mind. So most of these positions have advancement opportunities in them. Most of the entry-level positions, and Myra, you can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe they start at the specialist level, and then there's some are coordinators, and there are some that are management positions. So there is a good advancement opportunity for you within these different service areas. Okay, next slide. So just if you're interested in teaching in a Head Start program, these are some of the things you need to be familiar with in terms of teaching and learning environments, because we expect those to be have responsive care, effective teaching practices, organized learning environments, promote healthy development, and children's skill growth. They should align with Head Start's early learning outcome framework. They should integrate regular supervision of children and integrates ongoing supervision, an active supervision of children. These require individualized professional development plans for staff, and as well as ongoing professional development. And that's one of the things Head Start does, is it instills in you a lifelong learning from a child as well as a staff person in the program. So you're always learning new things. And the next slide, we'll talk more about what the requirements are for some of the teaching positions. So these come out of the Head Start performance standards that I mentioned to you earlier. A Head Start lead teacher should have an associate's or bachelor's degree in child development or early childhood education or equivalent coursework. And these are some of the basic requirements. There are some exceptions, but I just want you to know these are the things that we should be striving for. You should be striving for a career in Head Start. An assistant teacher should have a CDA credential and should be enrolled in a program that will lead to an associate or baccalaureate degree. An early Head Start teacher should have a CDA credential, a coursework in ECE with a focus on infant toddler development. Now, it's one thing to get these credentials and degree attainment, but there are other qualifications. So these teachers should also demonstrate competency to provide effective and nurturing teacher-child interactions, and they should plan and implement learning experiences that ensure effective curriculum implementation and use of assessment and promote children's progress. If you want to know more about Head Start, Myra said this earlier, you can visit ECLEC. We call it ECLEC. There is a link there. I think you all are going to get the presentation here. You can just click on that link and it would take you to the website where there is a wealth of information about Head Start. I mean, I barely scratched the surface, but there is a lot of information on this website about Head Start. And if you're looking for a career in Head Start, this is a great place to go and learn more about the program. And as far as Head Start careers, if you're interested in working in Georgia, you can go to my website, which is at www.georgiaheadstart.org. At the bottom of the web page or the home page, there is a link to careers. Click on careers at the bottom of the page, and it would take you to open, not necessarily open positions, but I have some Head Start programs that have their job sites on my website. So once you click on those, it will take you directly to their website so that you can see what possible openings that they may have. You can also go to ECLEC and to the job center there and do a job search by state. Those are the best for Georgia. My website is one resource for you, but ECLEC will have more opportunities for you that you can search by state. And I thank you for your time and attention today.
Thank you so much, Juanita and Myra. I am super excited for our students to pursue these opportunities. I definitely got goosebumps hearing your story. So I really appreciate you all sharing your passion that really comes through. At this time, we will open it up for questions. Juanita and Myra have dedicated some time to take your questions. So please feel free to submit those through the Q&A button at the bottom or through the chat. You can also include those in the chat. So I'll give those a couple minutes for the questions to start coming in. We will, the links that are shared, we will also drop in the chat, and then the recording of this webinar, we will also send by email within 7 days, and all the links will be provided in there as well. All right, let's take a look at these questions. See if any are coming in. One question that I saw populate was, are there any volunteer opportunities? If you're looking to gain experience or build your skills or build your resumes, are there ways to volunteer with Head Start?
So in the chat box, I have been chatting along with Miss Pamela in Texas. And Pamela was talking about a program that she had been considering making application to. And one of the things that I suggested to Pamela is to get on a substitute list at a Head Start program. Not only will you, it works the same way, just like the public schools. So not only will you receive compensation, I mean, why volunteer first if you can receive compensation, right? I know what it's like to be a student. So get on their substitution list. And it does two things. First, it allows you to receive some level of compensation. Secondly, well, actually it does three things. Secondly, it allows you to learn more about Head Start. Head Start is not childcare. Head Start is early childhood development and learning. And some would even say family and child development. So before you enter into this community, start on this journey, substitution is a great way to learn more about Head Start and how we function. Thirdly, it allows the program an opportunity to get to know you. When I was a Head Start director, my first hires or my first consideration for hires to fill a full-time classroom position always came from my substitute list because they had a proven performance record with us. I already knew how their personality gelled with the management and the staff, and I had a really good understanding of how they engage children and families. So yes, you can certainly volunteer. Head Start programs are nonprofit organizations or are attached to nonprofit organizations. So you can definitely apply. But if you're you can definitely volunteer. But if you're seriously interested in employment, I would suggest that you consider getting on their substitution list.
And volunteerism is really important in Head Start because community engagement is part of a framework around it. And programs also have to raise in-kind contributions in order to keep those federal dollars that they're receiving from coming in. So volunteerism is a big way that Head Start programs help raise those in-kind dollars. So yes, if you have a Head Start community in your community, Head Start program in your community, yes, reach out to them because they're always looking for volunteers. It's one of the things my mother always made us do was come and volunteer in her Head Start center. So yes, volunteerism is a big part of Head Start.
And I'm going to keep picking on Miss Pamela. Pamela, I'm really not picking on you. You're family now. So Pamela's response was, you know, how she had no idea that we take substitutes in Head Start. All teachers need a day off. Come on, Miss Pamela, everybody needs a day off. And how would I apply? Would it be online or on their website? So it could be. So this addresses the elephant in the room. As we were preparing for this panel, this was the message I wanted to leave behind. Although Head Start is the most progressive early childhood program in this country, some of the agencies in which they are housed are not tech savvy. So a lot of your process is going to be old school. You're going to hit the bricks. You're going to make phone calls. And you can do some research online. I don't know that you will always be able to make application online. Because part of that is, since we are a human services organization, we want to meet you. We want in-person contact with you from the very first moment. Because as talented as an individual may be, we need to know that you're a good fit for the emotional investment required for this position, and also the disposition that is required when you're interfacing with so many families of various backgrounds, and including your fellow staff. So note that some of it is because of limited internal tech support, but a lot of it is because as a human services organization, we need to meet you. We need to have face-to-face contact with you. So I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful, and definitely want to reiterate your message that, you know, these jobs may not all be found on Indeed or the websites you shared, but going to the centers where they're located, giving them a call is a great way to conduct your job search if you're interested. Awesome.
Look for the Head Start building blocks. You see those building blocks anywhere, there's a Head Start program. That's the iconic logo. That's a Head Start program there. So stop by and see what's going on.
Thank you. We had a few questions come in. Sierra asked, I know you stated working with special needs children. Is that mentally disabled, or does it also include children who may have a physical disability?
Yes, it's both. And then some have behavior challenges. So
I will reiterate by saying Head Start's eligibility requirements are based upon income, not the child's ability.
Mhm.
So before inclusion was a thing, Head Start was doing that.
Mhm.
Inclusion became a thing because we were doing it. You know, family engagement, all of these words you hear, parent involvement, those things are now trending because we were doing them 50 years ago, and then we shared the model. So, you know, just to give a story, when I was a Head Start director, I had a parent who came and said, oh, I hope that you guys will be able to, you know, enroll my child. We've been turned down by other childcare centers because they're not potty trained. Well, we don't do that. We don't turn a child away.
Right.
So any of you that are potty trained and shy, this may not be the field for you, but Head Start, we meet children and families where they are, and we help them to get to where they need to be.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's why I said this is a career path for those that are not only talented, but mission focused and heart centered.
I love that. Head Start is blazing the trail. Anthony's asked a great question. Many of our students are looking to make a career change. That's why they are enrolled at UAGC. Can you share about your own change of career path? How was that change? Was it an easy change? And do you have any advice for students who are trying to make that career change?
Well, I've made quite a few of those. You know, I think I said earlier that I started my career in corporate America, and now I'm in the nonprofit world, which is a big, big difference. When you're in corporate America, your pay tends to be higher, but the reward is not there. And so you work really hard, you work really long hours. You may make a good salary, but you may not be feeling fulfilled when you leave at the end of the day. And some people don't care about that. Some people just want to work and make the money. And that's okay if that's what you want to do. And I wanted to do that too, don't get me wrong. But the nonprofit world is a little bit different. It's hard work, it's long work, but you do feel some sense of reward and compassion for the work that you do. And you're tied to some type of purpose. for what you do. And then when you find a purpose like Head Start, something that I believe in, something that I won't call myself the poster child for Head Start, but I call myself the poster child for Head Start. So doing something that you know, working for a cause that you believe in and support is always a good thing to do. And I also, when I first came to the Head Start Association, I knew about Head Start from a service area, but I didn't know about it from a career standpoint. And I felt like becoming a Head Start director would help me do this job better. So I actually left the association back in 2015, and I went to become a Head Start director. I worked 1 year in a regional program, learned a lot about how Head Start actually operates, because that's something very important to know. And then I also worked in a migrant and seasonal program. So I learned about how those families situations are in relationship to Head Start. So then I was able to fortunately come back to the association in 2021. And I've been here for the last 2 years. So those are some things that happened for me in terms of career transition. And they all have been rewarding. I've learned a lot. In corporate America, I learned a lot, which is how I was able to transfer some of those skills over to the nonprofit world and continue the work that I'm doing now.
Another question that came in, does the Head Start organization follow the same schedule as the public school system in regards to work days, holiday and seasonal breaks, etc.?
So Head Start programs tend to partner considerably with their local school districts for obvious reasons. We're preparing the pipeline of children entering into their school system. And so part of transition for our children so that primary school isn't a complete shock, we do locally adopt the same schedule as the school district. There may be some slight nuances about teacher work days and things of that nature, but for the most part, and also because many of these children have siblings. And so we understand that it becomes a hardship for families when children are on different schedules. So all of that is taken into consideration. And so you will find that in most cases, the Head Start work calendar for the year will mirror that of the local school district. And Rebecca, I wanted to chime in because I think I have folks responding to some things that I've directed or mentioned in chat. And Andrea Brown asked, can you provide more details about the Family Advocate 3 position and the remote Head Start grantee specialist? Look who's already been on the job board sites.
Like
You go ahead, Ms. Andrea. So what I can say is this. There should be a detailed description of those positions wherever you found them, because the interpretation for a Family Advocate 3 is going to be particular to every agency. It's going to be very specific to every agency when what that means. But what I can say to you is that the Family Advocate position is the role, whereas you are the interface, you are the ambassador of the agency who works directly with that family, as I said, providing safety net resources, giving them guidance and resources to help them be successful. The Family Advocate is on the front line with families, just as our classroom staff is on the front line with children. Mm-hmm. It's everyone's responsibility to work with families. Let's be clear, but everyone has their assigned objectives based upon where their duty stations are and what their primary objectives are. The Head Start grantee specialist position is a federal position. So those are positions that are either contracted out through the federal government or hired directly by the federal government. And so those would be regulatory positions. Those are positions designed to monitor the grant funding or the grant operations of Head Start programs. So your two positions are, one is local and locally designed, locally based, locally designed. The other is at the federal level. And so, and the feds are our friends. We're all partners. We work together. But those are the two spectrums that you landed on. Okay. And then there's one from Valerie and I think Juan in here, but I don't want to get off script, but there are some questions in chat too. Did you want me to address
Yes.
them? Okay. Then Valerie asks, I have my master's in early childhood education leadership. Will I be able to start off working as a teacher rather than work my way up? Yes and no. The yes is based upon your educational qualifications. You appear to be prepared. The no is every agency is going to assess your level, your talent and your capacity to start as a lead teacher, to start as a teacher mentor, or where you fall in that spectrum. So a lot of it will not only depend on your educational achievement, but also your experience. And so if you are, as I said before, substituting, volunteering, you can build an experience history that will allow you to be more competitive, to enter at a higher level within that organizational chart.
And I also want to say, Myra, when they were asking you about the grant management position, a lot of times those federal positions really want you to have experience working in a Head Start program, like you know, in a local program before you try to obtain those positions at the federal level. So consider that too. If you want that to be in your career path, you may want to start, you know, and it just depends, but that's information I'm trying to share based on experience that's generally what they want you to do.
And in lieu of direct Head Start experience, they will also consider your experience in other business sectors, right? So for instance, if the position available was a fiscal specialist, and you had a business background and you had worked in corporate America and done sales and accounting and different things of that nature, and you had this wealth of experience in that arena, those are considered applicable skills that can be transferred. And so then they would work with you to bring your Head Start knowledge up to be in alignment with your existing fiscal knowledge. And of course, you'd have to learn a lot of federal regulations and standards around that. Okay, I'm excited about Sierra's question. I'm going to wait.
No, this is good. I feel like everyone in attendance today is getting gold nuggets of information for being here, and those that are going to get the recording as well. But yes, Sierra asked a great question about, do you need to learn sign language or a different language aside from English when working with Head Start? Is that something you recommend?
I definitely recommend. Is it required? No, but it's just like anything. It's just like any other competition that you're in, because let's face it, when you're in this whole job search piece, it's a competition. So any asset, any talent, any experience, any knowledge that you have that sets you apart from the pack, you want to make sure that you're including that in your conversations, in your resume, in your cover letter. You want to stand out. And so, yeah, so if you've worked with diverse populations, if you've worked in workplace settings where you have provided direct services to same-sex couples, or you've worked in an environment where you were dealing with domestic violence, like anything that shows that you have a special understanding of a population, or that you can connect with diverse groups of people, you want to bring that to the forefront.
Excellent. Great advice. And I think we'll take Valerie as our last question today. And again, if you have any lingering questions, please don't hesitate to email careerservices@uagc.edu. We can follow up with Head Start to get those questions answered. But the last question is, does Head Start have opportunities for field work? So traveling to different households to further help and assist families and children.
Yeah, as a former family services manager and working in social services majority of my career, I will say that all of Head Start is field work. As I said before, whether you are a bus driver, the cook, the nurse, the teacher, or the family services worker, you are the ambassador of the organization. And if a member of that family comes through the door in crisis, you don't stop and say, hey, let me go get someone.
Mhm.
You attend to them until someone can come to you, right? So that's the first thing. I just want to make sure you understand. That's what makes us so unique. Attending to children and families is everyone's responsibility. But if you're particularly interested in family services work, yes, you are in the field, because the best way to serve families is to create a trusting relationship with families. And you really can't do that sitting behind a desk.
Mhm.
You have to go out and meet families where they are, whether that's breaking bread at their table, helping them to diaper a small child while you're talking to them about enrolling their toddler into the program, like whatever that means. You develop those relationships with families, and in order to do that, yes, you are in the field.
Mhm. And I also, the last thing I want to add is, because of the high quality and the comprehensive services that Head Start provides, once you are in, and once you've worked in a Head Start program and you have all those good skills and hard work and training, everybody wants to hire you to work with them. Social services, the state offices, they want Head Start workers. The public school systems want Head Start workers, because we spend a lot of time training. Our services are comprehensive, so the staff have to be comprehensive as well in knowing how to carry out those services. So it's a great career opportunity if you want to learn a whole lot of different things and be able to do a lot of different things with that wealth of knowledge that you're going to get from Head Start. Head Start is a place you want to be.
I really appreciate you both sharing this valuable information. I know your time is sacred and you're very busy. So we do appreciate the time you spent with our students today, sharing your stories and about Head Start. And I'm just going to go over some final announcements as we begin to wrap up, but truly wanted to pause and say thank you to both of you today. So like I mentioned before, in a few days, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to this recording and information about Head Start that was shared today. And if you have any final questions about Head Start, any questions that were not answered today, or if you want any help with your resume, cover letter, job search, please don't hesitate to email careerservices@uagc.edu or log into Handshake through your student portal to explore more resources. Finally, if you enjoyed this event and want to attend future UAGC Career Services sponsored events, again, log in Handshake through your student portal to register. The next event is a one-year celebration of Handshake with tips and advice on how to navigate the platform and networking. That is next Tuesday, March 28th at 12 noon Pacific time. Also, very important, on March 28th, registration opens for our spring virtual career fair. The career fair is, again, virtual. It's on April 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do suggest that you register early to begin exploring these organizations, to sign up for virtual one-on-one and group sessions, and receive advice on how to prepare for the virtual career fair. And again, that's April 26th, but registration opens on Tuesday. To register for these events and more, log into Handshake. And again, thank you everyone for attending today. And we look forward to seeing you at more events. And again, thank you, Myra and Juanita.